You're watching Shani Speaks Now.
What's good, beautiful people? How y'all doing today? It's your girl Shani, your little big sis, because I might be small in stature, but I'm big on the sisterly love, and we made it to another Friday. Yes! Celebrate, celebrate. I will always celebrate making it to Friday because I know the weekend's ahead, okay? But welcome to Always Keep the Faith Fridays, where I try to give you a little gem, a little motivation, a little encouragement going from your work week, your Friday into your weekend. For those of you who are watching for the first time, welcome. Where you been? I hope you'll stay around. And for my faith fam, as I like to call you all, thank you all so much for being here and for watching and supporting week after week. I truly appreciate it, and I'd love to hear from y'all. So go ahead and holler at me in the comments, okay? And if you're not following me, follow me at ShaniSpeaksNow so you can keep up to date with what's going on in my life outside of Always Keep the Faith Fridays. Anywho, we have a lot to talk about today, people. So let's get into it. Here we go. So recently I read a book, or should I say I listened to the book, because it was on Audible. And Audible is my gym jam. And yes, I said gym jam, don't come for me. But I listened to a book called Called Out by Paula Ferris, who is a journalist. She used to be on Good Morning America. She was on The View for a little bit. And then now she does a podcast that kind of focuses on spirituality and faith talks. But I was drawn to the book because with her being a journalist and coming from a radio television background, that is my background, and there's so many things that in listening to her book or reading her book that I could relate to, especially when I was first trying to figure out who I wanted to be, knew that journalism, knew that television was something that I loved, and going off into college. But what I really loved about this book is she focuses on what your calling is, who you're really becoming. And there's two concepts, well, this is four fingers, but two concepts that she talked about in her book that I found really intriguing that I figured I would share with you all today. One of them is your vocational calling, and another one is your faith calling. So vocational calling is probably the calling that we are most aware of. It's us trying to figure out who we're going to be, what do we want to do when we grow up. And for a lot of people, trying to figure out the vocational calling is an easy thing because it's something that just innately comes to them. Sometimes those that are natural born athletes or natural born entertainers or natural born nurturers, they, go into the fields of sports or entertainment or maybe medical fields or nursing, whatever the case may be. And it's very easy for them to know. I knew from a very young age that television or being on camera or doing something with speaking and using journalistic or television or whatever the case may be was what my calling was going to be in life or what I wanted to do for a career in life. And then there's others where it might take them a little time. It may not be as easy. Maybe they're either great at a lot of things and they haven't figured out what the one thing is or few things are, because I don't think you have to focus on just one thing that they want to put their focus into. Or maybe they really just don't have a clue. There's nothing that really draws them yet or that they can think of. I love that in her book, she was saying how she interviewed a certain individual and they talked about how they help young people especially figure out what they want to do or who they want to be as far as their vocational calling. I'm going to share some of those things just in case there's some young people watching or maybe even some adults watching that haven't figured some of these things out. But typically to try to find your vocational calling, it is said that you look at what are you naturally good at? What is your natural skill set? What are the things that you just know that, oh, I can do this in my sleep? For me, talking, I can do that in my sleep. I mean, I don't like to sleep talk, but that's, you know what? I digress. You know what I mean. Figuring out what you're good at or what your skill set is. Another thing is, what are you curious about in life? What piques your interest? And lastly, what are other things that people see in you or say about you? Do you have mentors, family members, teachers who have looked at you and said, oh my gosh, you're really good at ... You would be amazing at ... Typically, those are vocational things that you can look into. And who's to say that they don't change over time? Sometimes people start in one thing and decide that they really love something different, but it's a good starting place if you're not so sure who you want to be or what you want to do. But one of the things that she touches on in her book that I really loved, and I don't think for me personally I ever quite heard it put this way, is the idea of having a faith calling. That everyone, if they want to believe that, actually has a faith calling. And even if they don't believe it, they still have one. So I'm going to break down a little bit of what that faith calling boils down to. Faith is a central piece of what makes a person, and every person has a purpose for life. Faith helps shape the core of who you are as a person. It shapes your ethics, your character, the way you problem solve, and the way you view the world. Ultimately, faith underlines and shapes what we'll do in the world overall, and typically our vocational calling will naturally flow from it. So essentially, your faith calling and your vocational callings kind of are trapped all up in one. It's almost like who you want to be or what you're becoming can turn into what you do as a job. I mean, there's certain positions that you may not think have a major calling in life, but because of who that person is and what they bring into it, an office wouldn't be the same without them, or a specific organization wouldn't be the same without them because of the faith within them that they bring out into their vocational calling. So if you haven't thought about that for a while, or maybe you have and you just want to think in your mind like, well, what is my vocational calling and how does my faith calling come out of that? I figured this would be a cool episode just to share those little tidbits and to see if it's something that you could think of and talk about and discuss amongst yourself or even with family or friends. Ultimately though, if sometimes it feels like life is not making any sense and you can't figure any of it out, just be encouraged that exactly where you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be. I know that I have moments where I am super hard on myself. I'm super encouraging and super positive, and I can do that for everybody else. But sometimes I am my worst critic. So I believe that my faith calling and my vocational callings are all coming together, and they are making me who I need to be, and they will make you who you need to be as well. So what's this week's faith fact? Know your very existence gives your life worth and a calling. At the end of the day, if you are living and you are breathing and you wake up to see another day, then you have a purpose, you have a calling. Who you are is enough. You may not be everything that you want to be, but your existence matters, and don't let anyone tell you any differently. And your vocational calling and your faith calling, if they haven't come, they will. And at least you have a little bit of a tidbit and understanding of what they should be or how you can find them if you haven't gotten to that point yet. Well, you all, that is all I have for this week, and I hope that you all have enjoyed that little gem, and I hope that you all have fun this weekend. Yes, I'm going to say it again. I want to say it every weekend. Enjoy life, people. Tomorrow is not promised. So enjoy your life. Live your life. Hey. Okay, let me stop. And of course, if things get hard, like Aaliyah, my girl, I have my try again shirt on. If at first you don't succeed, try, and try again, okay? Anywho, that is it for this week's episode. I always digress at the end. I just be rambling, just be talking. I hope that you all have an amazing week. As always keep the faith and let the Lord fight your battles. Until next time, love y'all. Take care. Peace.
Want to get a dose of motivation every Friday? Well, hit that notification button to subscribe so you never miss out. And feel free to share the encouragement with a friend. Don't forget, follow me on Instagram at ShaniSpeaksNow and keep the good vibes going week long. Thanks so much for watching and see you next Friday.